Hello, it's David Duford at davidduford.com, where I help insurance agents like you become top producers. Today we're going to talk about how to find the need for the insurance that you're selling. You see, I believe that asking and determining need usually leads to determining want, which determines urgency and gets you the opportunity to convince and persuade the person that buying your burial or life insurance, Medicare, whatever it is you're selling product, is going to advantage them more than the payment that they would have to give up. So how do you do that? I had an appointment once where I was in the appointment about to ready to close the deal, and another agent walked in. She was new. I'm a trainer, so I was interested to see how she would sell. And 2.5 hours later, she finally closed the deal. And I helped close it because she got stuck. And she asked me, how did you know she wanted life insurance? Well, it's because it was the questions that I asked. She had a script that worked, but by God, it was 2.5 hours long. It would drive me crazy if I did something like that. So we don't want to take that long. Because here's the thing. The way that you determine need and get want up front as quickly as possible is to ask tough questions up front. You cannot be coy. You cannot be lacking courage. The sooner you ask tougher questions, the more discernment you'll have to see if your client is somebody who is qualified or not. So what are examples of tough questions? One of the best ones is, what were your thoughts and concerns when you sent this card back? Why do you need life insurance? What happens if you die tomorrow and you don't have life insurance? What do you think your kids would do? How would your spouse survive? Do you want to run out of money before you run out of life? What would happen if that happened to you? And then just sit back and shut up. We want people to paint that picture themselves. We want to ask the appropriate questions to draw out that conversation. Because what this does, without manipulating them, without putting them in a position where we're telling them what will happen, they paint the picture themselves. They're in full control. It's psychologically much more superior to do this because it allows them to make the determination of what is really important or not in a non-threatening, non-pushy way. But if you do this, man, you really dig to the emotional core of what motivates someone to buy insurance products or not. And this is how you determine quickly if your prospect's worth dealing with or not and defining the need. And there's always going to be different need questions depending on what kind of insurance you sold. I just rattled off a few for final expense, Medicare, annuity, that kind of thing. Next thing you need to do is follow up with your questions with probing questions. So when somebody says, I don't know, I guess we would move out and, I guess my kids would have to pay for this. Geez, yeah, I guess, if I didn't have money, I didn't have policy for burial. What do you mean by that, Mr. Prospect? Well, I mean, my kids would have to pay. I mean, geez, they would be in a position where they don't have money and they got to come up with it. And how would they come up with it? I don't know. Geez, they would have to go into debt or beg at the church. If the more you probe into these questions that you initially start off with, your open-ended questions, you move into probing questions, you dig deeper. It's like digging the first layer off, getting to the next one, going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So probe their responses. Don't take the surface response, because a lot of the times people say it because people don't like to reveal their emotions instantly. They take time to warm up and get deeper. But if you ask good questions, it can accelerate the process if you probe them. It can help tremendously. And lastly, I'm a big believer in playing devil's advocate. So I love devil's advocate questions. So a devil's advocate question is, okay, so let's say you don't buy insurance today. What happens tomorrow if you die? Or you know what? You're telling me you don't need life insurance? I totally understand. I could see where you're coming from. But what happens tomorrow if you die? And then just shut up and let them answer. Because what you're going to see from that kind of question is the amount of emotional interest they have in life insurance. If they're like, well, I don't know, they'll just throw me out in the ditch. Yeah, I don't know. I do not know what my family would do. And you watch their body language, you watch the words that they say, and you can discern their level of seriousness or interest in the product. And all of this, in conclusion, helps you determine as quickly as possible if your prospect is somebody who actually is qualified or not. Because what you don't want to do is wait to ask these questions until 50 minutes into the sales call. Because if you find out that there was no interest there and they're just being nice, you've wasted a lot of your valuable time, which is the most important commodity to a salesperson. So bottom line, asking for the need for the insurance is all about asking open-ended questions, probing deeper, and using devil's advocate questions to position kind of interesting thoughts in a way that will open up the mind of the prospect to see if they're really interested or not. My name is David Duford at davidduford.com. I do hope you enjoyed this video and got some value out of it. If you have any comments, please leave them below. Thumbs this video up. Share it with your insurance friends that maybe have trouble finding the need. And make sure you go to davidduford.com if you're interested to learn more about my insurance agency and how you can join and how the lead generation and training strategies work depending on what product you'd like to sell. David Duford at davidduford.com, logging out. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.